good to have you on the show. I know you're a busy man, Mike. You're still steaming ahead for ISAE. How are you doing it? NAMM's just cancelled. You're not in the virtual world yet. You've got a real show going on.
I feel sorry for the organisers there. We've all got cause to concern. But they've got more cause for concern over there. CES caused an avalanche of decisions. We're hopeful. It's like, 2 steps forward and 1 step back the whole time at the moment for the whole situation here. Every day is something new. We don't know what's happening. At this stage, I always say I'm the ultimate optimist. I always want to see things get better, and I always hope for the best. And I'm hoping for the best. And this could go either way. It could improve or it could deteriorate. And none of us know. It's really rolling the dice at the moment to see what comes out. But, we are monitoring the situation. What we're looking at is saying, okay, let's look at the absolute worst case. What's the absolute worst case? This isn't going to get better tomorrow. And what if it doesn't get better next year? And what if it doesn't get better than the year after? Are we all going to sit at home and lie in bed and, try and protect ourselves in this way? Or are we going to adapt to try and find new ways to do business, new ways to actually continue what we're going to do? Or are we just going to let the live events industry die? I think we have to find ways to adapt. And that means, how do we make going to trade shows or doing business safer? What can we do? What are the things we need to do? And if it means that we have to wear masks and we have to social distance and whatever other things come on, then, we have to adapt.
Obviously, your job is to get us all back to Grand Fear in early February, and we all want to go. But there's going to be a lot of hesitance, I think, from a lot of exhibitors and visitors to do that because they've had this fear installed into them. And you're trying to pioneer them without showing it as being a sales call that you're trying to save your show. You're trying to get everyone back to normal, but tell them it's safe.
I'm not saying it's absolutely safe. What I'm saying is we're doing things to make it safer. Yeah, and that's what we're striving to do. And we're learning every day about what we can do to make it safer and what the issues are. I am sure there will still be people out there who won't come because they don't feel comfortable, as much as there are people out there who don't believe this exists and won't wear masks. On that side, what we say is, okay, and we have to assess the situation as it comes along, but if the virus is still as prevalent as it is, and the only way we can continue is to either wear masks or social distance, then that's what we are going to recommend.
Well, you've worked very closely and you had a risk assessment carried out by the World Health Organization.
The risk assessment was carried out by Aon, which is a risk management company, together with the University Hospital of Barcelona and FIERA. And what they did is they looked at all the ways in which the coronavirus is being spread to actually say, okay, how can we reduce the risk? How can we reduce the risk of spreading? And based on these reductions, WHO has made some tables of how they rate live events or in-person events. And you go through this table and actually say, they ask, which things you're doing, and they list requirements that you have to put in place. And then you go through this checklist, and based on that, they will give you a rating to actually say how they would rate your event going on as a live event based on, everything around. And based on that, we got a low rating.
You're working hard, and obviously you've got the double whammy this year, Mike, where you've actually transferring logistics from Amsterdam to Barcelona. Yeah. How's that going?
Working with FIERA has been really great. Those guys are, they are hurting with us, with everybody. On the positive side, we look at all the things we're able to do that we couldn't do in the past due to space restriction. When we looked at this, we said, how can we recreate ISAE? How can we make it even better? One of the things that a lot of the pro audio manufacturers wanted were demo rooms, places where they could actually show their equipment in a more controlled environment. So we were able to actually create that. They're not 100% soundproof rooms, but they're soundproof enough that they can do demos, and we're making spaces in between to allow, any leakage of sound not to affect the other rooms. We're doing more about live events because we see that, the live events business is really important. we planned that before this all happened, and unfortunately, a lot of our customers are suffering extremely badly. One of the things I said was always, we're always looking at the people in the super yacht sector, and I always said, oh, that would be cool if we could do that if we're going to Barcelona. And the guys from Super Yacht Technology magazine came to us and said, look, we had to cancel our show, and everybody's telling us you should do it as part of ISE. And we said, yes. And so, we're doing for the first time as a corporation. They're going to run that alongside ISE. The negative side is that we're going into a facility that we've never used. So there's going to be a lot of learning. And as much as we don't want to, we're sure there'll be some small mistakes we may make. We're trying to actually cover every aspect to make sure we don't. But it's always the learning the first time you bring a new show into a new venue.
In terms of floor space, at what capacity are you currently running at?
We are currently just below last year's show. If I'm being very realistic, ISE 2021 is likely to be a little bit smaller than 2020. It's funny, you made a statement earlier, you said you really hope that it's going to happen. Everybody really hopes ISE is going to happen, and that's what encourages me. Everybody wants this show to happen because everyone wants business to go back and start up again. ISE 2021 will be a hybrid event. We will have a digital part of the show. Our business is such that you can't just deliver it digitally. Yes, you can do the classes, but this is all about, it's called audio visual. And when we're trying to do this here, it's this touching, it's this feeling, it's seeing it with your own eyes rather than being reflected through a screen or the audio coming through a pair of terrible speakers that you may have in your setup. So these things are very, very important. And that's why in-person events for our business are an absolute must.
You are evolving and you're learning a lot. Tell me, of all the things you've learned this year, and you've learned a lot, I know, in the last 6 months, what's the thing you've learned most?
One of the things, this whole situation, what we have learned, time is our benefit, but it can also be our challenge as well. At this stage, we see things, we see solutions coming, but we also see more panic. We see situations worsening in some areas. ISE 2021 will be a European event in terms of the in-person part.
You don't feel the Americans and the rest of the world are going to come like they have in previous editions?
I think that firstly, the Americans are much more nervous, and quite rightly. Secondly, I don't know if the Americans will be able to travel. There's certain other areas like Australia and New Zealand where they are making travel bans anyway. Whether that'll change or not, we don't know.
We want to apply the jump lead and we want to kickstart things again, and this is the ideal time for it to kickstart, is February next year, I believe, where if we have a really successful show and it goes ahead, then everyone can go forward from that point onwards. It's really important. That would be you setting a precedent. You'd be the last show to have happened and the first one to venture out again.
It's a statement, but it's something which I hope that I would actually prefer to see other shows coming in before me. I really would, because I think it'll give people even more encouragement to attend ISE. But sadly, I believe that the people won't be ready until the end of the year or beginning of next year to start attending exhibitions. Based on that, yes, maybe we will be the first one in the industry.